Happy Friday!
Happy Friday! I thought you were gonna say Happy Valentine's Day, or
It's
well,
a little late for that.
I mean, it's our anniversary. So I thought you were gonna say
Well,
Happy Anniversary.
dating anniversary,
Dating anniversary.
and then we have a wedding anniversary, and then we
What's
have
that?
Valentine's Day.
I'm joking. I know when that is.
We also kind of have like 2 wedding anniversaries.
When's our second one?
The second one is when we actually filed our
Is that
marriage
was that this-
certificate,
was
which
it
is like
September?
5 months later or something.
No, wait. It was 4 months later. When we got married in May, and we filed in September, right?
Uh-huh.
Or was it October?
It was something like we basically didn't file our official marriage certificate until like 4 months after the fact. So
It's fine.
that's life. It's fine.
It's fine.
It
We're
just
married.
means we
It's
have
fine.
lots of anniversaries to celebrate.
We don't celebrate the others.
That's true. That's very true.
No, but seriously, the great thing about having an anniversary right after Valentine's Day is all the discount chocolate. I didn't buy any. I'm gonna go buy chocolate tomorrow. It's gonna be on sale.
Oh man, I want some chocolate now. I just finished that piece you gave me, but
We have we have tea flavored white chocolate and we have tea infused chocolate. but it's late
white
at night.
chocolate.
We have tea infused chocolate downstairs, but it's also really late at night, so I would not
Yeah.
advise it.
And like I don't know, white chocolate's all right, but
You want chocolate milk? I can make you some.
dark chocolate's where it at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to make you like? Do you want me to make you
Uh-huh.
chocolate milk or something?
No. I actually like milk. I'm not a huge fan of milk chocolate.
Okay.
Like milk chocolate's all right, but like I will have milk
We sh-
chocolate if there's like other flavors mixed in, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Otherwise, I'm not a huge fan.
No, I get you. I get you. We should probably get on with it.
Okay, let's actually read the chapter.
Let's do what we came here to do.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You want to find out what happens next?
Well, since you told me that people were talking about it in the spoiler channel, and you wouldn't let me look at it even when I grabbed your phone. I am extremely anxious to find. Look, you know what this is? These live reads are all of y'all talking in the spoiler channel, and me as that guy in the meme hanging onto the fence and being like, "Let me in, let me in." So yeah, let's get this show on the fucking road, huh? So then you
Okay.
can let me the fuck in. Let me in.
You'll be allowed there soon. After we finish Ward, apparently.
Fuck all of you, man. Let me in.
Alright. Pray. 14.9. Your powers are working alright? Tattletale asked. I nodded. Bug powers, was it? Don't want to get it wrong.
What did you say?
Bug powers, was it?
I heard you say butt powers, and I was like,
Ah, yes.
but I was just like,
Butt powers.
oh,
Ho, ho, ho.
oh, is it that kind of a thick now? Is
Worm would be a very different story if it was
butt powers? I don't know if I'd want to read it.
Someone would want to read it, though. I guarantee it.
Ugh.
Let's see. Not Worm. It would be called...
Work.
Work? It would be
You
called
know, like
Work.
Working Girl.
Work by Chuck Tingle.
What? Chuck Tingle? What's Chuck Tingle?
Wait, you
Why are
don't know...
you smiling?
You don't know Chuck Tingle?
What is Chuck Tingle?
Chuck Tingle is an erotic author with the most amazing book titles.
Hulu Pa?
Okay. I am reading some Chuck Tingle titles to you right now, okay? I am reading them to you right now.
Can I have some water first, please, before I die?
Have some water, and I will tell you about Space Raptor Butt, Trans Wizard Harriet Porber.
Who's Harry Porter?
It's a parody of Harry Potter. We have, oh man. What are some of the really good titles?
If there's anybody on stream, this is a good time to
Like, he has a lot of titles that are like Pounded in the Butt by my, I don't know.
pound it in the butt, but
Alright, here we go. Pounded in the Butt by
your mom.
my bizarre assumption that Chuck Tingle books are just covers and not actual books. Angry man pounded by the fear of his latent gayness over dinosaur transitioning into a unicorn. Look, it's Chuck Tingle. I don't know how you haven't heard of him.
I've never heard of this. like you're saying words, and I'm not processing
Okay.
any of them because they're just a bunch of words strung together.
I guess
that
you're.
really make sense.
I guess you're ace slash demisexual. So
What is this? I don't. What am I supposed to?
welcome to the world of Chuck Tingle.
What are you trying to get me to? I'm sorry. Is there an appropriate reaction I should be having besides abject confusion?
You're supposed to laugh because it's sex, and sex is funny.
Ha 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 ha. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna keep reading.
What the fuck is happening here?
What powers is what's happening? Bug powers, was it? Don't want to get it wrong. Control them, see through their eyes.
Bug powers.
No, I can't see through their eyes or hear what they do.
Yet.
It's mainly touch. Just wanted to check.
That makes it sound more tingly? Touch.
Touch. So she can't hear or see through the butts, but she can touch.
Being able to see or hear through a butt. Stick your butt against the wall and suddenly you can hear.
Yes. That's what you can do with butt powers.
I'm too ace to know what you could do with butt power.
Just wanted to check. She paused. If I asked you what my power was? I shook my head. Okay. And if I said I was born in Mexico, could you tell me where I was born? Didn't you just say? Yeah. Repeat it back to me. You were born in Mexico? Your short-term recollection is still good, at least. That would be why you can retain the information Gru and I... Recollection.
Okay.
That would be why you can retain the information Gru and I have shared over the past few minutes. That big beetle of yours, you named it? I glanced at Atlas, who was crawling a short distance away. Atlas. Tattletale nodded. That would be the short-term memory, again. Your power probably gives you enough contact with it that you don't lose track of who and what it is. Right. So, as long as that keeps working, we don't need to worry about you and Gru forgetting who we are in the middle of a conversation. But for us, we might lose track of each other if we split up. So let's stay close, okay? Okay. She reached out and took my hand. Can you use the bugs to scout our surroundings? This will go more smoothly if we don't need to worry about running into people. It made sense. I sent my bugs out to cover the surrounding area.
Okay, so can you just recap what's going on? I think my brain stopped after the butt stuff.
I'm sorry, butt stuff made your brain stop.
Okay, so...
Basically, Tattletale is saying that short-term memory is okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But if they but they should stay together because if they
because once that crosses over into like long-term memory, then she might forget.
Okay,
yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she reached out and to hold Taylor's hand. Just wanted to point that out, that they're holding hands right now, okay? And now she's asking Taylor to scout the area.
Friendship. They're skipping. You guys should hold hands and skip and sing Kumbaya. Friendship is magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's magical, but the friendship is magical, Harry. Sorry. The Power Puppet Pals, I meme.
Yep, old meme.
Very old. Yeah, older than some of you who are listening in right now, I bet.
Probably.
Yeah. Let's see. Potter Puppet Pals. When did that come out? I mean, it came out when we were in like... There we go. 2007.
2007.
Oh my god, how old are kids who were born in 2000?
2007 kids are currently... 25?
15.
15?
So there could be some...
Oh. No one...
There's nobody here who's 15?
Probably not, no. I don't think that we have 15-year-olds here. We're not that old, okay?
I don't know anymore. Look, this morning you're the one who was also like, oh, I feel like I'm mid-30s, and you're younger than me. You're not mid-30s. Well, not fully mid yet. I don't know. I count mid-30s as like 35.
Hmm.
We're still early 30s. What are you typing?
Making a note about Potter Puppet Pals. Alright. The red mist was everywhere. Color was strained out, leaving everything a monochrome red. I could still make out the surroundings, but just enough light was filtered out that the area had settled into an oppressive gloom, with many existing shadows made nearly opaque as a result. The drifting movements of the mist and the subtle shifts in color and shadow made me feel like things were prowling in every corner and in the edges of my field of vision.
Oh, so, okay, so that's... Huh, so they're already paranoid, so that's also gonna enhance. It's bad.
That deep, primal prey animal part of my psyche kept telling me something was wrong, that I was in danger. I tried to tell myself that it was just my fear working itself up, my brain playing tricks on me. There was nothing out there. The weight of the gun in my hand was both a reassurance and a burden. It would be so easy to do something I would regret for the rest of my life. Hate this, I muttered. Me too, Gru answered. He put his hand on my shoulder to offer some reassurance. But we manage. We cope because we're a team. We belong together.
He's trying so hard to, like, keep it together himself. He said as if convincing himself, I feel like.
My awareness snagged on someone who was walking a distance behind us, measuring their pace with ours. We may need to stand together as a team sooner than later, I said. We're being followed.
You know, now that I think about it, the thing that I just said, the narration, you know, like he said as if trying to convince himself, Wildbow doesn't use anything like this in his writing.
Huh. I think it's a stylistic choice for sure.
I think it's interesting because, I don't know, I feel like I've gotten used to seeing that particular style of writing. I guess maybe it's primarily, I don't want to say it's like a female author, male author thing, but that's something I have noticed that male authors, even like from foreign countries, tend to have this like very threadbare way of describing things. Like you won't try to suss out, like even if you have an emotional character, they're not always going to like try to suss out another character's emotions. They're just going to be sitting there making judgments about that person, or it's just going to be completely plain like this. Even though Taylor's like a girl, I mean, part of it is you could read that as like Taylor herself being not very good at like reading people, and yet at the same time, even in interludes with like other female characters, you don't have things like that. It's just this character said this and then said this, paused, laughed, said this, right? It's just words, action, the very few descriptors of things. Unless it's an action scene, there's very few descriptors. There's very few adverbs being used at all. Or like, then there's no ways of like saying like, hey, so-and-so said regretfully or ruefully or something like that. There's none of that. Now that I think about it, I haven't heard any of that.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good point.
I just think that's interesting because, I mean, the thing is, I know cursed be thy name, like J.K. Rowling. I look at Harry Potter, I hate to say it, but Rowling's like, writing style, her flow has always been a massive inspiration for me in my own writing. That's how I get my sense of flow from. Like if I'm behind, if I feel like I don't quite know how to like write something and I can't get into it, I reread Harry Potter passages to get back into it, and that usually is enough to get me going and get me unstuck.
Yeah, Harry Potter prose, like it's actually okay. J.K. Rowling, piece of shit.
Yes,
but her prose
is very good.
Yeah,
not even just her. Mostly the reason I found that I like reading female authors more is because there's a stronger sense of prose for the ones that I like. And even like the male authors that I read, they're always people who have a very good sense of prose. And so we don't really see that here. So now that I think, I get it, like, it's like an art style, right?
Right.
You guys don't care as much about, say, like a very minimal art style. Say, let's think about Hunter x Hunter, for instance, right? It's an art style, but it's very minimal.
Right.
And it's very sketchy compared to, say, fine, My Dress Up Darling. Very pretty art style, right?
Right.
Think about that versus like Hunter x Hunter. So that's what I feel like we can compare, like, say, Margaret Atwood as being more like My Dress Up Darling in terms of like style.
Right.
Then this would be like Hunter x Hunter, where it's just like, we have just enough information.
Sketchy, right?
Sketchy. We have just enough information to get the idea, but there's not going to be any more than that. We're just going to have bare bones sentences. I'm just actually looking a little bit at the screen here, and it's like, can you go back to it? Let me try reading it. My awareness snagged on someone who was walking a distance behind us, measuring their pace with ours. Like, that's how I read it in my head. We may need to stand together as a team sooner than later, I said. We're being followed. It's just very like, look, there's somebody behind us. We're being followed. By who? Tattletale asked. She paused, then laughed. There's no end. Like, you have to always, I think part of why it's a little difficult for you to do the narration is because you're not given any keys. You have to kind of just extrapolate everything as far as how they're saying it. How loud are they? How soft are they? We don't know. It's not there. I think that's actually part of why, like, again, this is not like a criticism. I mean, if you guys like threadbare stuff, and I mean, if any of you have read Murakami stuff, that's really dry.
Right.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there. And I have a lot of, like, for those works, I have to read it fast.
Yeah.
And I have to read it fast because I have to, like, read through it like I'm falling down a hill. Like, I have to force myself to, read fast. Otherwise, my thoughts come, this is just me personally, my thoughts will come grinding to a halt because the prose is just, it's very like, instead of the words rolling together and the flow carrying you away with it, like it would for, like, say, Toni Morrison or Margaret Atwood, it's just, I'm just going to tap here. Tap, tap,
That
tap,
cannot
tap.
be pleasant for the listener.
Well, that's what reading non-prosy stuff actually is for me.
Okay.
It's just somebody walking down the hall. Instead of,
Right.
you can hear that, like,
It doesn't flow.
Yeah, things don't flow. They don't blend together. And so there's nothing in the writing to carry me away, as if, like, you know, on a tide. Because there's nothing to carry me away, there's no current, I have to create that current myself by swimming. And I guess for me, that's either a lot of effort or it's just not fun. So to mimic the flow, I have to speed through it as quick as I can so I can't notice that there is no flow.
Right.
I'm not saying that there's no cadence, but there's not as much flow for a lot of, like, male authors. And so I have to read fast. If I don't read fast, if I try to go along with, like, the pacing of what my brain processes something flowless to be, it comes to a stop. And I can't move any further. So I don't read these.
Right.
It's just something I noticed.
Yeah. Like, it's easy to bounce off of a writing style, right?
Yeah.
And just say...
Yeah, and again, I know you guys are all here to defend. Like, I mean, I hope it's okay for me to make these kinds of comments, and I hope nobody interprets this as me attacking anyone. I don't trust anybody these days, but, like...
Hey, like, I will just say it. Panda is very picky about, like, art and writing style. That's just how she is.
I need something to work with, and, like, I'm not very good with, like, bare bones stuff. Notice, I don't know what kind of classes you guys were good at. Physics was my worst one. Math, I'm not good at. Things that are, like, very cut and dry, like, they just... For some reason, they just don't stick to my brain. You know, the whole throwing spaghetti at a wall, right? It doesn't stick to my brain. You have thrown all that spaghetti at Teflon. Sliding right off.
You're throwing uncooked spaghetti at the wall.
Pretty much. It just bounces right off. None of it sticks. I don't remember anything. Because it's not... I guess it's not very interesting to me personally, so it just... you know, and that's
doesn't stay with you as a result.
Yeah, so I think that's why, like, for a lot of things, it was actually easier when you sped through it here, because there's no, and I'm trying to, like, and all of my reacts, I realize, are me trying to find something to stick onto. I'm trying to, like, in the early chapters, there's plenty there. There's plenty for me to get invested in, like the emotional core of the story, the, like, Taylor's, the bullying Taylor's journey. But, like, I guess maybe that's the other part. Maybe that's why this arc drags a little bit. That Taylor's journey does not come on as strong. It's just kind of like, oh, here's a big fight. We're going to fight.
She's kind of spinning her wheels here.
Yeah, yeah. And so when Taylor's spinning her wheels, like the narrative, I feel like it kind of, Taylor's narrative gets put on pause so they can fight this threat. And then once this arc is over, I assume it's going to start picking up, although how quickly, I don't know. How quickly that ball gets rolling, I'm not sure. So I think that's actually part of why I have so much trouble reading Worm, even though, like, the rest of you, like, love it to death, because it's not even just the writing style. It's just, there's not as much for me. There's not that many things that are sticking for me. Does that make sense?
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what,
it's like the prose doesn't, like, the writing style doesn't stick with you. The actual, like, Taylor's character arc.
It's very slow.
It's slow, yeah. And on top of that,
it's all very thinky and analytic-y, and also it's very nitty gritty. It's almost like somebody has taken a book and turned it into an instruction manual, and now you're reading the instruction manual, like, at me.
We brought this up before, but the web serial format it has a lot of pros in some ways, but we're seeing the cons here too, right? Like this is essentially more or less a first draft.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like we know, like, and I've mentioned this before, that Wildbow has gone back and like done edits before, but like he's essentially left this work untouched. And if he has an edited version of Worm, like he hasn't shown any of us it, really.
Yeah, and this is the opposite of what I do. So I have a day job, like 4 or 5 days a week, depending on like the week. And I spend like maybe 1 or 2 days writing my first draft, and then I will edit and re-edit 2 to 3 times. I spend 5% of my time doing the first 10%, 15% of my time doing the first draft. Actually, maybe I should up it to 20. I spend 20% of my time, 15 to 20% of my time max on my first draft. 80% on constant revisions. So by the time like I post it, it's like it's a very polished product. So the way that I figured out how to do my kind of work is to try to stay ahead of the game, right? As quickly as I can, get myself a backlog, and then go back and do some final touches like before. And of course, push, and since you volunteered to be my editor, push it through my editor as well, for like checks. So that's actually how I write it. So I use the time, I have a massive time lag. So while my readers are commenting on something that I just posted, that's something I wrote 3, 4, 5 months ago, because it has gone through that many revisions. So that's what works for me, because this is what I prefer in my writing. And I like churning out something that isn't painful for me to read. So that's why like my writing style is how it is, and the way that I do things is how it is. So I imagine if I ever go into web serial format, which I'm still thinking about, I mean, the Vampire Dentist would work far, far better as it's a work in progress. It's a comedy. It's actually a comedy.
It's a concept.
It's a concept that I came up with in quarantine with my friends. But for something like that, it would be better as a webcomic, I feel like, than a written work, because the visual gags just don't work as well. But yeah, for something like, if I were to write a serial, I would have to start working on it a year in advance, and then start posting bit by bit. Because you just need that. I need that polishing time.
You are unwilling to put something out without that polish.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Fair.
So yeah, just a little bit of like commentary, because I'm not a professional writer, and I'm a hobbyist who is literally dividing all of my time between my paid day job and my hobby, in hopes of someday changing my hobby into an actual, like, well, maybe it can put some food on the table. I mean, In-N-Out counts, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just, this is just my 2 cents. I don't know how much people care about this part, and I don't know how much pushback I'm going to get on this, because everyone's got their own opinions, everyone's got their own writing style, but that's just,
Yeah.
Like, even for the Do the Right Thing. Was it Do the Right Thing?
Do the Right Thing.
Sorry, I thought it was Do the Right Thing. Even for Do the Right Thing, I spent about half of my time actually writing it, and also I type faster than I talk. And I talk really fast. My thoughts go that quickly. The reason I talk and type so quickly is that my thoughts are like shooting stars. If I don't catch it, it's gone. And they go that fast.
It makes it a little difficult to talk to you sometimes.
I know. my brain just...
But it makes you very entertaining to listen to. And I think everyone can agree on that.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, that's very kind of you. But yeah, like, where was I going with this? What did you say?
Thoughts go by like shooting stars.
Yeah, I have to make things go really fast. It's just, it's tough.
You type really fast. Even
before that, there's something else I was trying to get to.
Well, you were talking about writing for Do the Right Thing.
Even for that, I wrote most of it in about 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, and then I spent the next 10 actually going back
and polishing
it, and being like, okay, I have 10 more minutes. I guess I could flesh this part out more. I have like 8 minutes. Okay, great. I can go back and edit for grammar. Like, this is actually how I took my SATs and how I do my exams. Finish everything as quick as you can, because your thoughts go very quickly. Like, the good news is, like, I finish exams quickly as well, but that means I've trained myself to do this. Finish all of my exams really quickly, finish doing all of my thinking as quick as possible, and then spend most of my time doing the polish.
Right.
This is my process. Also, I'm very good at this.
Yeah.
I did finish that. I did finish my SATs like a good 15 minutes before everyone else, and I thought I'd failed it because I was like, okay, put my stuff down. I look at the clock. There's like 15, 20 minutes left in the section, and I looked around. Everyone else still had their heads down. I was like, I failed.
I married a smart panda. Panda did pretty well.
You get like I don't know. You get a something from us if you figure out what I actually scored.
All right. Well, pros or not, let's just get through the chapter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to find out what happens, regardless.
I want to know what everyone's screaming about. Let me in.
By who? Tattletale asked. She paused, then laughed. Silly question, I guess. Tie them up? She suggested.
Tie them up? She suggested. You read that in Gru's voice.
Sorry. Oops. Right. My bugs gathered in out-of-the-way spots, and the spiders began drawing out lines of silk in preparation. I didn't want to inform this person that I was onto their tail. Then, just in case they decided to drop the tail and attack us, I began to gather bugs together into decoys. Human-shaped lumps and clusters of bugs gathered in alleys and at the edges of rooftops. Still more gathered in the street, standing in alcoves and in other hiding spots.
You know, a film adaptation of Worm would be extremely interesting because Taylor is always narrating and explaining things to us.
Mm-hmm.
She's always explaining things. So I think that's actually the other thing I'm figuring out about the narrative here. The narrative is always, it has been like this from the beginning. At the very beginning, I thought it was interesting, but now that we're like 2 years into these live reads, I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The narrative is literally just Taylor explaining everything to us. Taylor-splaining.
Taylor-splaining.
Skitter-splaining.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's tiresome, but, you know, okay, it's a little tiresome. I think this would work better in film because we're spared the splaining, and then I'm picturing this in film.
Right. We get to see this happening.
Yeah, we get to see this happening, so we don't have to hear Taylor. So go up a little. If I was adapting this for film, I'm not even a film director, but this is when I do my writing, I actually picture everything as storyboard format first before I actually put anything down to paper.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just my whole thing. I don't know. Again, I don't know how much you guys care about this, but it's a different style. So right there, go back. I want to see it. Right, my bugs gathered out of the way spots. So, and the spiders began drawing lines. So, right, it's like, so we would just see like Taylor. We would just have like a little, we'd have Taylor and then Tattletale. Maybe Tattletale hanging back a little behind. The camera's gonna be right in the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see Taylor in the foreground, Tattletale in the back, and they're just kind of talking to each other. And the camera can zoom in. The camera, when Tattletale's like, tie them up, and then Taylor goes right. The camera zooms in. I would say zoom in on Taylor and zoom in on her eyes. Like she's still got her goggles, right?
Right. I think she's got her
I would
mask
like
up.
have the camera.
Oh no, wait, she lost her mask.
Did she?
I think she's got her.
Okay, wherever her eyes are.
Yeah.
Wherever her eyes are, we zoom in on her eyes and then cut to the alleyway where you see. Quick cut to one alleyway where you see spiders, stringing between like buildings,
Mm-hmm.
and then like another quick cut or the camera like swiftly pans to the human-shaped lumps and clusters of bugs gathering in the alleyways. So this, just the bugs forming. You hear like threatening music, like wow. And meanwhile, you see Taylor. The camera's still like kind of. You cut back to the place where the camera was in front of Taylor, and you can still see like Taylor and then moving forward while this is happening. And we're spared we see what she's doing. We already know. It's like, oh, she's being followed. Right. We know what the bugs are doing visually without Taylor explaining to us. And we know why the human-shaped lumps are there without Taylor explaining to us.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm saying, like, there's a lot of cuts that I would make. Like, that's why I would have written this whole thing a little differently because I would have chosen like a cinematic feel so that Taylor's not explaining things to you. You as the reader are experiencing it. But again, my goal for my story, it's a reader insert almost. It's not a reader insert. It might have started like that in concept, but it's completely not that anymore.
Fair.
I write reader insert type stuff, and I've been doing that since like middle school. So my whole goal is always an immersive environment and immersion, and using like books to create using books and like writing and prose to create the illusion of something visual, which is why people are always just kind of like, people will comment and say things like, I actually physically felt that. What did you do? Or even you read something, you're like, I pictured it.
To be fair though, I do think this style of narration works for Taylor specifically because she is an analytical person.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, it does, but at the same time, it's gone on for a very long time.
Right.
How long is Crime and Punishment?
I don't know.
That was the book I remember having to read in high school that I hated the most. I liked A Tale of Two Cities, for perspective. I liked that one. Everyone else was like, oh, thank God it's over. And I was like, actually, you know what? There was one phrase that really there was one scene that really did it for me. And yes, it was a little bit of a bloodthirsty one. I mean, it's French Revolution, heads rolled.
Right.
Classic Panda. Meanwhile, what was it? Crime and Punishment was that one dude just being like, no, I called this old lady. Do I turn myself in or not? And I'm just like, grow a pair of balls and do it or not. Oh my God. Like, if you're gonna kill someone, have some conviction. Yes, I am a monster. Okay. But yeah, it's just, it's the writing style, the narration of the protagonist in Crime and Punishment was also just kind of like killing me. Because I'm just like, stop being so in your head. Oh my God, just make a fucking decision. So it's the same vein.
Yeah, okay. So
The
maybe
kind of thing
style
bothers
like
me.
protagonist and in the attitude plus the writing style of the protagonist.
It's just
doesn't work for
Can you
you.
imagine MHA, but Midoriya is narrating everything at you in his mumble, mumble, mumble.
Right. And it's always mumble mumble.
That's this.
Okay.
That's this.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm just... I don't even like Bakugo, and I'm just like, get on with it!
No one actually says that to Taylor here.
Well, because on the outside, they just see Bug Girl. They just see, like, bugs buzzing around her, like, bzz, 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 and she's just kind of, like, menacing. She's just standing there.
Okay, I'm skipping this
menacingly.
paragraph, okay? I'll skip this paragraph. She made lots of decoys, okay?
Uh-huh.
Gru drifted away from our group to approach one of the decoys. He extended one hand and traced his fingers through the masked bugs. You're versatile. I felt a little uncomfortable at the compliment.
Oh my God, this is hilarious that she finds Gru's compliments uncomfortable because, at first, okay, see, there was a point in time when she felt it would be uncomfortable because she liked him.
Mhm.
And now she finds it uncomfortable because classic Taylor, people are commenting her. She's like, I can't handle compliments. Look, me too, girl. I'm not allowed to say anything. I see the way you're looking at me. I did this on our walk earlier. I was also just like, please stop complimenting me. It's not self-esteem issues. But yeah, it's also like, ugh. Also, Gru, sweetheart, do not put your hand through one of the decoys. Then they'll know it's a decoy.
It's a bug. They're made of bugs, and it's nearby.
No, they're being followed by someone.
Right.
Don't put your hand
I
through.
see.
Don't put your hand through the cloud of bugs because you can't put your hand through like a person.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna know that one's a fake. She's gonna have to disperse it.
Oh, well. We should keep moving. You're not tying them up? I shook my head. A miscommunication on that front.
Wait, I thought she was gonna tie them up.
Hadn't I recently been thinking about chemistry and intuitively understanding how your teammates operated? The
Taylor.
miasma...
Taylor, the insert joke about Taylor and not having any chemistry with people.
The miasma might be throwing us off in that department. Sorry, need to prep for it first. I'll make my move in a minute. For now, we should act normal.
Oh my God, that's a very tall order for your group.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Burn.
fine. He dropped his hand to his side and rejoined us. We kept walking. I had to admire them, the way they were confident enough to avoid looking over their shoulders. I had my bugs to track our pursuer with, and I was still feeling nervous having them behind me.
Oh, Tay-Tay.
Is paranoia a side effect of this mist? Tattletale nodded. Could be. As the symptoms progress, you could have fits of anger, paranoia, hallucinations. I swallowed. Or
Prions.
it could progress in another direction, a broader agnosia with the inability to recognize anything, not just people.
Oh, that is pretty terrifying.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. She nodded. I'm going to bind her now. If it doesn't work, or if she has a way of breaking free, we should run, with the decoys for cover. Tattletale just smiled. The bugs swarmed our pursuer. I'd minimized the number of bugs on them, just to be safe, with the drawback that I wasn't getting a full picture of who they were. The bugs couldn't get to her flesh to sting or bite her, but they were telling me she was female in general shape. I had them deploy the silk that they had prepared. I focused my efforts on her arms and legs. It took only a couple of seconds to get the threads in place. She tripped as the silk went taut mid-stride. Raising one hand to try to catch herself, she found silk threads hampering those movements as well. To avoid landing face first, she twisted herself in midair, so she hit the ground with her shoulder instead.
So they're being followed by a girl and they don't know who it is.
Yep.
And they just captured her.
They tied her up. Yep.
Okay.
Got her, I said. Let's keep going. We can lose her. We should investigate, Gru said. Make sure she isn't a threat, and deal with her if she is. With this miasma affecting us, there's no way to be sure of just who we're dealing with, I pointed out. We have Tattletale. She can tell us if this person's a member of the Slaughterhouse 9.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can, huh?
Tattletale's not... I stopped. Where had that come from? What? Gru tilted his head as he looked over his shoulder at me. I was going to say she's not always right.
What?
But I've still got that black hole in my memory of her, so I'm not sure where that's coming from.
Wait, really? Wait, what?
What do you mean, what?
I don't remember. What? Oh, what? Wait, what do you mean she's not always right?
Okay, wasn't it like a chapter ago where we established that Tattletale can go down a rabbit hole and like come out with the wrong conclusions?
Oh, that's right. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's what she's referring to.
Look, I'm sorry. There's a lot of information being given out in this story, and I can't remember all of it.
That's fair. That's why I'm reminding you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. How do you remember all this stuff?
Because I like this sort of writing style.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You like Jenna Moran. You like reading rule books for fun. There are 3 rule books stacked up on your desk, and I do believe that all 3 of these rule books are thicker and heavier than the medical books I've kept on the other shelf.
Mm-hmm.
That should terrify you.
Gru rubbed his chin. Something to keep in mind. But I still think we should check this person out. I agree.
You make it sound a little pervy.
Sorry. I agree, Tattletale said, a slight smile on her face. She tugged on my hand. Come on. We had to stick together. I reluctantly followed, knowing that separating from the group could mean losing them altogether.
So you've seen some horror movies.
Yep. We stopped a few hundred feet away from the woman. The silk strands had formed a cord around her arms and legs, and the work of the spiders had tightened the binding as she allowed it to slack. She hadn't made it back to her feet after falling to the ground. Gru drew a knife. Hey, I said. I grabbed his arm. What are you doing?
They're bad guys, TJ. Did you forget? Yeah, okay, she probably forgot.
She's obviously a member of the Slaughterhouse 9, Tattletale said.
Really? Obviously.
Fill me in? Because I must have missed something. Doesn't seem that clear to me. Think about it. Why is she wearing a mask like that, if not to filter out the miasma? She knew about it in advance.
What kind of mask?
I don't think the mask was described, so I'm not sure.
Go on.
Maybe, I said. I could make out something like a gas mask or filter, now that Tattletale had pointed it out. Maybe there's another explanation. It could have something to do with her power? It doesn't, Tattletale said.
Ooh.
Thinking about killing someone was one thing. I'd always assumed I might have to do it out of necessity to save a teammate.
Oh my god, is she gonna kill someone?
I'd even come close to doing it when attacking the 9 not long ago. Couldn't recall who it had been, but I'd gone all out, used potentially lethal stings and bites. That had been at a distance. Now we were looking at killing someone face to face. The mask.
Oh, no.
The mask. There was another reason for it. The Tattletale interrupted my thought. If you guys aren't going to do it, I can. She was following us. She was prepared for the miasma, and I'm positive she's a bad guy. My power, you know. We can't be certain, I said. With my power, I'm 500% sure. Trust me.
Whoa! Is this the tunnel rabbit hole thing?
She said, grinning. She started toward the heroine. No.
Heroine? Did she say they started toward the heroine?
She said, started toward the heroine. No, I said. Skitter's right, Gru said. She could be playing possum. Best to avoid being reckless, keep our distance and finish her. That's not what I meant.
Oh my god, why is this funny?
That's not what I meant. Let's just leave, I said. I'll make that phone call to, Coil, Tattletale supplied. I nodded. We'll get the information we need, get ourselves cured, or track down the 9. Cherish could lie, Gru said. It took me a second to place Cherish's name. Names were slipping from my mind too easily. Maybe. We'll use our own judgment to corroborate her facts. Tattletale scowled.
She wanted to kill someone. Tattletale was like looking forward to killing someone today.
Have you
This is the definition of waking up and choosing violence. Oh my god. I can't believe I'm so happy I got to say that. Today they woke up and chose violence.
Tattletale scowled. Have you forgotten how aggressively we've been going after the Slaughterhouse 9? The attacks, the harassment?
Well, have you forgotten? You know, it's kind of a funny thing to say in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, right?
You might have forgotten, Tattletale.
The attacks, the harassment, capturing Cherish and Shatterbird? And now you want to leave one of them there? We don't have to get close to her to take her out. You have the gun. I stared down at the weapon in my hand. Trust me, she said. Yeah, Taylor's been holding a gun this whole time.
Right. Oh my god.
No. Both Tattletale and Gru turned to look at me. No? Gru asked. We're a team, Skitter. We're supposed to trust one another when the chips are down. Have each other's backs. I didn't like the implications of that. Like I was failing them.
Oh my god, your issues. Wow, you can... Wow, Tay, this is... You need some therapy. All I can say, this is interesting. You know, you can forget everything, and yet your issues are all just like...
Right?
You can't forget your goddamn issues.
But I shook my head. No. Explain? He asked. He looked calm, but I could see the irritation in his posture. Was the mist getting to him?
No, you're getting to him, sweetheart.
The miasma. If it makes us paranoid, it could be coloring our perceptions here. Even Tattletale's. I would know if it was, she said.
Are you sure about that?
She seemed impatient. Maybe, but I'm not certain enough about that to take another life. You nearly took Siberians, she retorted.
You did?
Taylor? Yeah. Apparently. Right? When she attacked Jack Bonesaw and Siberian's controller.
Okay. I can't remember it as well as I thought I could, but... Okay.
Yeah, they were escaping from the Endbringer shelter, and she was attacking them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sure, but that was different. I don't see how. I stared at the bound woman who was prone on the ground, half covered in my bugs. She was looking in my direction. It bugs me. This is too easy. If the 9 were this easy to take out, we wouldn't be in this situation. Sounds like a pretty thin justification for backing out, Gru said. Yeah, Tattletale added.
You guys are just choosing violence. You guys are just waking up and choosing violence.
This kind of social pressure wasn't the sort of thing I was good at coping with.
Me neither, girl.
Just going by my recollection of how we'd planned many of our capers, I could usually trust some of the others to have my back when I was arguing a point, or I'd had some other motive or reason to go along with them. Why are you pushing so hard for this? I asked. Did you forget what they did to me? Gru asked, his voice cold. Him specifically? I had forgotten, yes, but I could remember that scene. The emotions then, every feeling that I'd experienced afterward. Frustration, hate, pain, sympathy for the pain he must have experienced himself. I could remember the feeling of heartbreak, because someone I cared about was gone, in a sense. No, I replied. Where's your anger? Your outrage? Or don't you care?
Let the anger, yes, let the anger flow through you, or however that quote goes from Star Wars.
I care! It's, then end this. I shook my head, as if I could clear it. It wasn't that I wasn't thinking clearly, necessarily. It was that my thoughts kept hitting that dead end, where I couldn't reach back for context about people, about Tattletale and Gru and the 9. I was in the dark. What I did know was that I'd done too many things I regretted. I wasn't about to add something as serious as murder to the list. Gru must have seen something in my posture, because he shook his head and turned away. Give me the gun, then. Just use your power, Tattletale told him. I want Skitter to acknowledge that she doesn't care enough about this team or about me to do what's necessary.
What?
She can do that by admitting...
How dare you? Oh my god! You're being unfair to Taylor! Why butt? Why butt? Why butt powers?
She can do that by admitting she doesn't have the courage to shoot and allow me to do it.
What are you guys doing? Something about this is really off, you guys. I think we should like take a minute. I hate to agree with Taylor here, but I think you guys should take a minute. You know, maybe breathe, think about it for a second. Maybe go back for some tea and cookies, and then think about this for a little bit. Just think about this. What are you saying, Gru?
That's not what this is about, I said. Murder is serious. You don't kill without being absolutely certain it's right. And nothing's certain for as long as we're under the influence of this miasma.
Oh, you know what? That's a really good point. I sent a patient home once because he smelled of weed when he came in. Like, reeked. We're all wearing masks. And, like, I didn't have my N95 on at the time because I was not, like, in a treatment room, but like the staff walking back, like we could all smell it. I sent him home. He was just here for like a consultation, so I gave him some information, and then I sent him home with the information. I was like, I'm not like, go home, think about things for a little, because I was just like, he was like falling asleep on me and like asking weird questions. So I'm like, go home. I'm not doing anything for you today. Go home. So fair point, Tay. Fair point. Point Taylor.
Yeah. Nothing's certain for as long as we're under the influence. He scoffed. And you call yourself a supervillain?
She doesn't! What are you doing, guys? What are you doing?
I call myself Skitter. If someone wants to stick me with some other label, that's their issue to deal with. Not mine.
Ooh, you grew a spine. I like this.
You're not giving me the gun? No. He shrugged. So you don't care at all about what happened to me. You don't care about this team.
Wait, what is all this shit? Is this Gru? Is this really Gru?
And you even look down on us while you do it. You're contemptible friends.
Is this Gru? Is this actually Gru? Is this Bonesaw and Jack Slash talking to her? This is like really sus.
I care more than you know, but you told me not long ago that I should follow my heart, trust my gut. Fine, that's what I'm doing. You attack her, I'll fight to save her. He barked out a laugh. You'll fight me? You're a traitor now? The word hit home. I must have flinched. A traitor again, he added. I snapped my head up to look at him in surprise.
Again?
I wonder what it says, that the notion of you being a traitor is so ingrained in my impression of you that it jumps to mind, even with the mist affecting me. That's enough, I said. I know you like me. I can read it on your face. I could see the way your eyes widened when you heard my name. You're an open book in some ways.
Is Gru capable of being this good at this kind of thing?
Maybe?
Is this Gru? Is this actually Gru, or is this someone else? I mean, you're kind of reading this, maybe part of the reason I say this is because you're reading this a little bit in your Jack Slash voice.
Oh.
It's veering towards that just a little bit.
Huh.
But is this really Gru? This is all sus as hell. How does he know all of this shit?
Maybe some part of him remembers.
I don't know. I don't like the way you're smiling at me right now. This is sus as hell. This is sus. Get out of there, girl. You gotta stab him. What's it? Remember, what was it from like the Hunger Games? Remember who the real enemy is. Stab him.
You're an open book in some ways. And I'll tell you right now, I'm pretty sure I'm in love with you.
Dun dun dun. I just saw every soap opera transition from like telenovelas in Mexico to like the let me find like dramatic K-pop song, like the commercial break where it's just like transitions. Hold on. Let me see.
You're looking for that link?
I'm just trying to find. See. No, I'm looking at this.
It's the wrong one.
That's wrong. Hang on. I can
it's gonna take too long. Oh, come on.
No. This is not gonna take very long.
All right,
It's
fine.
just.
Hi, Alex. Alex says, why but?
Oh, there's another Yunha album. I can hear this. Like K-pop, like the transition. I'm pretty sure of it looks like, oh, drop that in the middle of the phone. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. This is like the worst time for a confession. You goddamn teenagers fucking everything up.
I felt a nervous feeling deep in my gut. It wasn't pleasant. It's dark odds to what he was saying. Gru's words spoke to that feeling of trepidation. But this, it's telling me I could never have a relationship with you.
Whoa!
Never be close to you.
Whoa!
Because I'll always wonder if you'll stab me in the back.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Why but?
Fail to do what's necessary in a situation like this. I'll never be able to shake that image of you.
Gru, you're asking her to kill someone for you, and she barely remembers you. Can you just process that for like 2 fucking seconds? Get that through your thick helmet skull. Did they even describe Gru and Tattletale at the beginning?
No, because she doesn't recognize people.
Yeah, but there were no physical descriptors, were there?
There were some. She described Tattletale as being blonde.
Okay, so yeah, Tattletale's blonde.
Yeah. I think that was about it.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, she brought a man over. This is Gru. And I'm just kind of like, she brought a dude over. Is this Gru? I don't hear anything about his dreads or anything.
Right? No physical descriptions?
Right? So I'm just kind of like, is this Gru? Do we have to just take it at his word? I mean writing style is fine, but...
It's right there, Gru's words.
You are making this extra stuff. Stop smiling at me like that. You look so cute. Stop looking pretty at me. No, but this is not... Dude, this is not Gru. This is totally... No. This is sus.
He kept saying that word.
Sus. Where were you? What were you doing in the med bay, huh?
He kept saying that word, traitor, hammering it in.
Yeah, why is he doing that? This isn't Gru.
Unless I take this gun and shoot that woman, who you're convinced is a member of the Nine, I guessed what he was getting at. Guess I had the wrong impression of you, he said.
Dude, you're asking her to shoot someone for you.
The emotion in his tone was so different that it caught me off guard, almost contemplative. If I thought of it as him emotionally closing down, it almost fit with the impression I associated with Gru.
Damn!
At the same time, it didn't quite jibe with what I was seeing. I felt that distinct discomfort.
Dude, this isn't Gru. This totally isn't Gru. This is Jack Slash or something.
Is this how I lose my mind? I shrugged. I guess you did. I carefully holstered the gun, as if hiding it could keep it from coming up again in conversation. A long pause reigned. I'm disappointed, but there's nothing I can do about that, he said. Then he smiled. He turned and began walking away. Let's go.
What? That's it? Wait. This is not Gru. This is not Gru. Come on.
Alex is saying, what do you mean it's not Gru? Who else could it be?
I don't know. Jack Slash? I don't know what his powers are. I don't remember what everyone's powers are, but this is not Gru.
Do you want me to remind you of their powers?
I mean, I don't remember things too well, but I just feel like this is just very...
I am your encyclopedia here, okay? So...
Alexa, what's the weather outside?
It's stormy in Brockton Bay.
Huh.
Stormy and flooded.
Alexa, how much does Taylor weigh?
How the heck should I know?
You said you're an encyclopedia.
Oh, enough to make her feel like a worm? Low self-esteem?
I mean, she is skinny and kind of...
Oh yeah, she's skinny.
She is kind of worm-like.
She's the skinny kind, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Fine.
You wanted to know someone's power?
Sure.
Which one?
I don't remember. Bonesaw I remember because...
So Bonesaw, medical
tinker.
Yeah. Jack Slash, able to extend blades a distance away.
Right.
Who
Crawler
else?
I remember.
Crawler.
He's also dead.
Yeah, Mannequin. Yeah. Burn Scar. Who's dead? Yeah.
Shatterbird.
Captured, Cherish.
Captured.
Mm-hmm. And then
you have 7 fingers.
There's one more. It was a
Weeb.
Siberian.
All right.
Yeah? Does that help?
Okay. But this is still sus as hell. He asked her to shoot someone for him, and then he's just like, all right, let's... Smiles. All right, let's go. And I'm just like,
Just like that? I asked. We're leaving her? Tattletale asked. Seems we have to. Tattletale, can you use your power to make sure the lady from the 9 doesn't pose a danger? Tattletale nodded, smiling. Then let's hurry. We wasted too much time here. Let me know when she's not in your range anymore, Tattletale said to me. I'll try to use my power to make sure she isn't following us. I nodded. She hugged my arm. You're stubborn, but we're still friends, right?
Oh!
I nodded again.
Lisa!
I nodded again. I felt like I was back in school, in a situation where I couldn't say anything without saying the wrong thing.
Wow, this is all strangely teenagery.
Strange to recall being around the bullies rather than in the company of my team. The argument weighed on me, as did the things Gru had said, the judgments. Had I been wrong? Were we risking letting one of the 9 get away to murder others? Was I arguing because I was still clinging to old ideals, or because the miasma was making me divisive?
Well, I mean, you know, if the miasma makes you want to not kill somebody, that doesn't sound like a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Even if the miasma was to blame, I hated the idea of failing the others yet again.
Oh my god. Why but? You're being unfair to yourself.
This situation was fucking with my head. I still felt like I was in the middle of a fight, that heart-pounding mode where I was ready for bullets or laser blasts to start flying, for me or a friend to be in mortal danger, where a split-second response meant the difference between life or death. Except, there was no danger here. The only people nearby were the women we were leaving behind, Gru and Tattletale. I glanced at Tattletale as we ran. Could I trust them? They had been in the miasma for a little longer than I had, and I was already experiencing what I could only label as paranoia. With only a difference of minutes, Legend had been thrust into a paranoid state where he was taking a reckless, offensive course of action.
So she remembers Legend.
Yeah, and I believe she only remembers Legend because she has short-term memory, right? Mm-hmm. And so she knew he was Legend before the effect took hold.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Eliminating everyone from the battlefield, regardless of whether they might be friend or enemy. How much was it affecting these two? How would it influence their actions? More to the point, what was my best course of action here? If I worked on the assumption that I could trust them, would they drag me into a situation that was just as bad as what we'd gone through with the bound woman? Or, if I didn't trust them, if I allowed myself to become suspicious and take countermeasures, would that be a slippery slope that led to me trying to kill them in fear for my own life? We'd come close to fighting just now. You're awfully quiet, Tattletale said. Leave her be, Gru told her, his voice low. What was I supposed to do? I didn't trust myself to handle this alone, not with the speed at which this general unease was building up, but I wasn't sure I trusted them either. Something about the argument. It felt off. Wrong. She's out of my range, I said. Tattletale? I'll keep an eye out, she grinned. Traitor. I could almost hear the accusation. I'd lied. The woman was still in my range. Is there service? Gru asked. I must have looked confused because he clarified by saying, the phone. I pulled my phone out of the space between my breasts and the armor at my front and checked the display. Yeah, I said. Why does that bug me?
What bug?
Hey, bug. Call Coil, Tattletale reminded me. We need to know where Cherish is. I found him in the contact list and made the call. Speakerphone? Gru suggested. I nodded, selected the option, and hit the button. As the first ring sounded out, my swarm sense alerted me to the bound woman breaking free of the silk strands, as if it was effortless. Had she been playing possum after all, hoping we would get close? I looked at Tattletale, trying to see if she had any inkling that this supposed member of the 9 was free. Nothing. Tattletale turned to me and grinned. No trouble incoming? I asked, as the phone rang again. She shook her head. All good.
What the hell?
Was her power not working as well as she thought? I couldn't even recollect what it was, but she'd said she would keep an eye out, and there was something alarming occurring this very moment. Skitter, Coil answered the phone. I've been made aware that Bonesaw has deployed the ace she had up her sleeve. Yeah, agnosia-inducing mist. Permanent, according to Tattletale. I see. I could hear the sounds of typing on a keyboard. Agnosia. Panacea can't reverse the effects? She's not here. We're trying to find her. And you need Cherish for that, I suppose. I was grateful that he was supplying the names, because it meant I didn't have to bog down the conversation by remembering or asking. Brew, Tattletale, and I had brought them up recently enough that it wasn't a huge leap to remember their names. The woman who I'd tied up with the spider silk was walking towards us. Her progress was hampered by the decoys. I kept my mouth shut. It wasn't an imminent problem, and I was more interested in engaging just how far gone Tattletale's power was. Except that with the agnosia, we can't remember where she is and go meet her. Meeting Cherish would be a grave error, Coyle spoke. Just put us in contact with her, then? Tattletale informs me of your code. You remember how it's put together? Yeah, my memory's fine. It's just my ability to identify people and remember stuff about them that's fucked up. Tattletale glared at me. Right, she didn't like swearing.
Was that always a thing?
Hmm?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Tattletale doesn't like swearing.
Oh, I don't remember this.
No, Tattletale never said anything about swearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Then, using a name we're both familiar with, D. Gangrene. I can't remember names. I don't think I can use the code. Troubling. You must understand my predicament. For all I know, you're a third party using Skitter's voice to make the request. With shapeshifters, empaths, and other methods of coercion, I have to be very careful about the dissemination of information. I know. The woman was still approaching. Tattletale and Gru weren't talking. Something was wrong. What if we kept you on the line? I suggested. That will suffice. There was a pause, then the sound of background noise. A ring sounded, different from the one before. It was interrupted as Cherish picked up. I have never been so sorry to miss out, Cherish said. She sounded a bit hoarse. We're requesting your help, Coyle spoke. Oh, you need my help in more ways than you're aware of. Not that I'm going to provide it. Skitter's on the line, I believe. She is. I'm here, I confirmed. And Tattletale and Gru, of course. She chuckled. How amusing. Seems like I'm in high demand.
You're probably used to this.
Mm-hmm. They're looking for Panacea, Coyle said. Identifying her for us would be one way to achieve revenge on the Slaughterhouse 9 for turning on you. Revenge? Not my interest in the slightest. I've learned my lesson, and I've become the poster child for team loyalty. Coyle paused, then said, I'm prepared to offer you some enticements. I imagine your current quarters can't be too comfortable. Don't suppose these enticements will be hand-delivered? They will be provided by remote control, as your food has been. Some headphones and music would be nice, she said. The sound of the waves banging on the hull is driving me crazy. Such could be arranged. Nah, I'm totally fucking with you. Music, as if. There were too many things that seemed off. Cherish's tone among them. I glanced around. The woman was still following us, throwing herself after decoys, verifying they were false, then retracing her steps. She was slowly closing in. I positioned Atlas so he would be ready to distract her, if it came down to it. You're stalling? Coyle asked. I don't see the point. Just trying to see if I can provoke a reaction from you. There's only so many times I can read the labels of the shipping containers before I lose my mind. Have to amuse myself somehow. What will it take for you to tell us where Panacea is? Coyle asked. Oh, I'm feeling generous, and I want to see what happens. I'll tell you that as a freebie. They're at Arcadia, somewhere in the top floor.
Arcadia's the mall?
Yeah, I think that's the mall.
Mm.
A freebie? Something was going on, and I wasn't aware what. I had to piece it together, but I had so little information. And maybe I could offer you something in exchange for some goodwill. Maybe you'll even want to let me go free. No obligations. The feeling of dread that had been following me wasn't getting worse. I think that was supposed to be Cherish's line. I'm sorry. The feeling of dread that had been following me wasn't getting worse as the woman approached. It was staying steady, like someone had a gun pointed at me, and they'd had it aimed my way for some time now. I'm listening, Coyle said, but if this is frivolous or another waste of our time, nah, critically important. I'll trust that you'll take it for what it's worth and repay me in kind. What is it? I asked. Oh, it's simple. Going by what I've been able to observe around the city, there seems to be a major concern. Si Jack effugi si vertelem, mundus terminabiter. I'm not versed in Latin, Coyle spoke, sounding annoyed. For shame, Coyle, for shame, Tara said. Her voice was too cheerful. You can't sell the cultured supervillain image without the ability to make quips in an ancient language. I had the benefit of my power. Languages are easier to learn when you can get a sense of what the other person's feeling.
Can we look that up? Let's Google it. Is this... I think we can just Google Translate it. I feel like that's probably what Bo did.
We can do that. Let's try.
If Jackson's... Yeah. Okay, there we go.
If Jack has escaped the city, the world will be terminated.
Okay.
I actually did not know what this said.
I figured the last two out. The C is if. Like, because that's if in Spanish and French. And, like... Oh, and Italian. But, like, the Mundus is, like, terminable, or, like, okay, world destroy, but I did not know the other two. If Jack escapes the city, the world will be destroyed.
Yep. You look like you're thinking.
Nothing. Well, I'm exhausted by all of this. Wait, something's wrong. And then we're just... I feel like somebody's holding the shoe up, and I'm watching the shoe go into the stratosphere, and it's just not coming down.
Okay. You want me to just keep reading?
Yeah, let's just get this over with. Like, let's hurry.
Okay. That was something about Jack? I asked. Repeat that in English? Doesn't matter anymore, she replied. The message was delivered. I'll leave you to think about it. If only I could have blamed the miasma for my idiocy. Everything clicked into place. I kept my voice level. I don't think you'll get much goodwill if you don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. Coyle, we're moving out now. Report back when you found the healer, Coyle told me. I hung up before Cherish could speak, and I glanced at the others. Let's go? Arcadia High? They nodded. My heart pounded with such force that my vision wavered. I turned to head toward Arcadia High, joined by the two members of the Nine. Stay calm. Don't let on that you know.
So they are the members of the Nine.
Yep. Think about what just happened. Who was Cherish talking to? She was not talking to Coyle there. She was talking to Jack. And she was saying, oh, I'm not bent on revenge anymore. And I'll give you a freebie too. And then,
so the person with Taylor is Jack.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I said that.
Well, yeah, but I wasn't gonna say anything.
There were no
until
descriptors. I was just kind of like, come on, man.
If I could direct the woman to us. The miasma's effect had almost made me lose track of her. She was fighting, grappling with mechanical spiders. She went from fighting like an ordinary individual to moving at high speeds and throwing crushing punches, then back again. I couldn't think of how to help her, and she was obviously unable to help me.
Who is this? The person following.
Who can fight like an ordinary individual, then move at high speeds?
Battery?
Battery. That's right. Cherish had been engaging in doublespeak, saying one thing to us while addressing the two people with me the entire time. She'd told them about where she was being held captive, and she'd offered the most valuable information she had to avoid getting tortured to death after they'd freed her. From the way she talked about the message being received, one of the people with me had to be Jack. Jack was slated to bring about the end of the world if he left Brockton Bay, and now he knew.
Oh.
Couldn't meet their eyes, didn't want to speak in case I let on that I knew. I could barely breathe. I was so afraid of letting my emotions show. My gun was in the compartment at my back. I'd put it away at the conclusion of our argument, and with the compartment broken in my fall from Atlas's back, I'd been forced to put it in a place where it wasn't easy to draw. I couldn't be sure I would be able to draw it and fire. I was still handicapped, unaware of the powers, I was fighting blind. If Jack or the girl killed Amy, just about everyone in the city would die violently from the miasma's effects. But I couldn't stop them without letting on that I knew. Fighting them put me at a clear disadvantage and... Skitter, Jack spoke. I didn't waste time turning to face him. I gripped the hair of the blonde girl beside me and virtually hauled her off her feet as I dragged her around to a position between Jack and myself.
That's Bonesaw, right?
Yep. Jack was already swinging his knife. The knife cut the girl more than it cut me. I could feel it raking across the exterior of my costume, failing to penetrate, but he was swinging it underhand and it caught me in the chin, slicing through the side of my cheek and up to my temple.
Ooh.
I tried to keep a hold on the girl for the sake of using her as a human shield, but I saw her reach into her dress and withdraw some vials. I shoved her toward Jack, then stepped forward to kick her
It's
square.
interesting that they targeted Skitter.
Well, they're not exactly targeting her here.
You know what I mean?
What did they stand to gain by being with Skitter? What were they telling her to do the entire time? They wanted her to call Coil, right?
Hmm.
And now that she called Coil, they figured out where Cherish is. And they figured out where Amy is. Yeah.
Right, okay.
This is what they were doing.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. I shoved her toward Jack, then stepped forward to kick her square between the shoulder blades. She collided with him, interrupting his follow-up swing. For good measure, I drew the bugs from beneath my costume and sent them chasing after her. Some capsaicin-laced bugs, just the few I had remaining. Jack caught her shoulders and spun her around so she faced me. The vials were already billowing with a chemical reaction. She threw them at me. I backed away, and they hit the ground between our two groups, black smoke joining the crimson mist around us. You've outlived your usefulness, Skitter, Jack spoke.
I was wondering why you were like slipping into your Jack voice here and there, and I'm just like, you sound like Jack. Is that on purpose?
I was trying to make it subtle. How was it?
Not really subtle.
Oh.
I thought maybe you just forgotten how to like speak.
Fair.
Because sometimes you mix up lines.
Sometimes I do.
You did that at, like this chapter. You actually did it a couple times though. You remember the voice?
Yeah.
That's okay. You tried. You kept grinning at me.
I'm sorry. Okay, I don't have a poker face here, but also you were onto it. So what else was I supposed to do?
I am a smart panda.
Uh-huh.
What am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Largely. A lot of people
Insulted largely.
A lot of people don't catch on until like way later. Until like Taylor basically spells everything out.
When did I catch on from the very beginning?
No.
No.
You did not catch on until Gru was egging Taylor on to kill someone.
I thought it was weird that they didn't describe Gru though from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I asked you about that a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Like why they didn't really describe Gru or Tattletale. That was actually a little bit of like a this is kind of sus.
Uh-huh. If I just had a minute or two more to decide on a course of action. It was fun. I almost wish I'd nominated you for the 9. You're versatile, and there's so many weak points I could have exploited if I'd had more time. If Cherish's information on you wasn't so misleading, I think it could have made you shoot the heroine. To corrupt you like that, it would have been amusing.
Ugh.
I fumbled
You're back to talking in that punchable way.
Well, I mean, it's Jack.
I know. It's so punchable.
Alex says, we have to admit we were a bit surprised you didn't catch on at the end of the last chapter with the don't swear.
Oh, that's right. No, I thought that's what I was asking about it this time too. I thought it was weird.
You thought it was weird, but you didn't remember exactly. That Bonesaw doesn't like swearing, specifically.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, again,
there's a lot of information. I
I
understand.
don't read instruction manuals.
And
for
also,
fun.
Alex might be surprised, but what we were talking about in the spoilers channel was a lot of people just saying, oh, I actually didn't catch on at all until it was revealed. Like, a lot of people, like, I think it's a mixture of people who catched on right at the end of the chapter versus people who caught on, like, in this chapter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry. I thought the whole thing was weird the whole time.
It is very weird, and it's designed to be weird.
Yeah. Well, I guess I get what... How many points do I get?
You get 100 points to Gryffindor.
No, I mean like out of 100. Did I get a failing grade for not noticing it until the very...
There's
until like
really not a
dead
passing
thing?
grade here.
Okay, sorry. I just kind of feel a little bit like... I feel like I've... This time it's my turn to pull a skid and feel like and say like I feel like I failed for some reason with you guys talking like that.
Like I said, most people didn't catch on. But it's a fun reveal.
How do I put it? I think I was asking you questions even the last chapter to try to like suss out whether or not I should know if this was weird, and you just kind of kept giving me this blank face, so I wasn't sure if I was supposed to think it was weird or not.
Okay.
Because you remember there were a lot of things I asked you, even last chapter, like why are they not describing Gru? Why are they not like the hey don't swear? It's like what? Okay, I don't remember this being one of I didn't remember that being one of Tattletale's character traits because I could have sworn Tattletale sworn a lot. So it's all stuff like that.
You did not ask me about Gru's appearance, actually.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you did.
I guess I've gotten really bad at communicate. I guess I've gotten really bad at communicating because these are all things that I was like thinking the whole time. And I remember I keep asking you like I keep trying to ask you questions and then you just keep giving me like a poker face. So I actually don't know if I'm supposed to think these are weird or not. So like,
do you want me to not give a poker face? Like, because I was trying to keep a poker face there.
I know. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I feel a little insulted right now because I was onto the right thing, but then you kept misleading me with the lack of reaction. So I thought like, oh, so I guess I'm not supposed to.
Like I said, it's a gradient. Some people didn't catch on.
No. What I'm saying is for like you specifically, because I was trying to ask you like questions so I could assess whether or not I was on the right track.
Right.
And you kind of didn't, you kind of just kind of kept me in the dark. So now I'm just like, I fucking knew it the whole time. I kind of knew the whole time, but I received no confirmation or denial. And I would have appreciated like something to let me know if I was on the right track or not, you know?
Okay.
Because now I just look stupid. Now I can't, now it's like.
No, you.
How'd I put it? I think I did know from the beginning, but I had an idea of it, but like the confirmation came when it was like the
almost revealed, right?
Well, no, the whole like, oh, I think you should kill her. Right. That was like that kind of confirmed it for me. Even though I had my suspicions the whole time. So I guess I don't know. I guess I'll just how do I even put this into words where I'm just like I knew it, but then I felt like you misled me into thinking I was wrong.
I see. I guess it's a little messy here, right? Because I'm the one who's reading to you, right? And like if you were just reading this by yourself, right? You probably could have freely just said, "Oh, this doesn't feel right," right? But I was reading to you with like this combination of Tattletale and Gru's voice. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so that was your extra misleading
voice. Also, your Tattletale voice is very similar to Bonesaw's, and your Gru voice is also very similar to Jack's, just in general.
Right.
So, okay.
Yeah. So, I'm
gonna award myself at least a 75 out of 100
there you
here.
Go. Okay.
Because I'm just like, look, I think I had an idea even before that halfway point, but like I was just not being given like any way.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You could have voiced it out loud if you wanted to, but I think you were just really uncertain. Right.
Well, the fact of it is you kept looking at me. So that made me think you kept looking at me in a way that made me think that I was wrong.
Did I?
You kind of did.
Okay,
you're not doing it on purpose. Your poker face has that effect on
yeah,
me.
Okay.
Because when we have discussions about things that are not stories, if I'm going into crazy mode, if I'm going into like depressed mode, you kind of do that.
Okay.
Where you look at me, I'm very good at like how do I put it? The CPTSD makes it very difficult for me to tell if I'm being crazy or not. Are people mad at me? I think everybody's mad at me. I think everybody's always mad at me or always upset at me as a default. And so sometimes you look at me like, no, everything's fine. You kind of did that to me here too. So
okay.
I'm not blaming you or anything. I just feel a little like pissed off that I think I actually figured it out, but I was not like, you're not gaslighting me, but how do I put it? Look, I'm crazy. And I'm not saying that in like a, I say this in the Shakespearean sense. I have never been sane. I have literally never been sane. I don't know what a sane person thinks like. I've never been not crazy. So this is really hard for me. I'm not upset at you. I'm just saying like next time, like maybe if I'm on the right track, be more encouraging rather than like
Okay.
rather than act in a way that makes me feel like I'm incorrect.
You know what? You enjoy it more if I'm not withholding things, right?
Yes, very much so. Did you not hear that rant about please let me in?
Okay. Then I will...
Hand me the keys, by the way.
Here's the keys.
Yeah, just for tomorrow.
I will not worry so much about this sort of thing anymore.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just make sure you can enjoy this process.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate that. Because again, like I said, I'm crazy. I don't know if I should read people's emotions as being upset. Am I right? Am I not right? I don't know.
All right. I fumbled for the gun, using my bugs to get a sense for where it was. In the same motion that I pointed it, Jack slapped it out of my hand with 2 slashes of his knife. He was a dozen feet away.
Slap!
Jack slap! He was a dozen feet away, but the knife nonetheless connected with my weapon. My bugs began to gather like a dark cloud, their mass casting a shadow on the already gloomy surroundings. The way in the world? Interesting. The source is a little unreliable, I lied. Still, I would love to see how that comes about. You won't live to, I told him. I'll make sure that he does, the girl informed me.
Ew.
My swarm could feel others approach from the heroine's direction. They were the size of dogs, and they skipped forward on mechanical legs. The mechanical spiders, dozens of them coming straight for me. If I was judging right, they were running faster than I could.
Is Dragon coming?
They're mechanical spiders. Who controls those?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I sent the swarm after Jack.
I guess I thought about the dogs thing.
Yeah. Massed into thousands of bugs. Some groups clustered so tight together they looked like massive, amorphous black entities. Amoebas floating through a cityscape painted in shades of red and black. Atlas heard my call and headed my way from the place I'd positioned him, too far away to join the fight for a minute or two. The girl was already mixing something else together. Plumes of white smoke billowed around her, almost luminescent after so long spent in the crimson mist. My bugs died on contact with the gas. Everything I learned about my enemies had been blocked. I had no information on them, no sense of what to expect. They weren't so handicapped. She tipped half the vial's contents into an empty container and handed it to Jack. Both protected from my power, they started backing away. I moved to edge around the cloud of black smoke, but Jack struck me with a knife. I had to use my forearms to cover my unprotected face. I just had my glasses, some bugs, and a layer of cloth protecting it. Nothing that would guard against Jack's cuts. When I lowered my arms, they had already turned a corner, running in the general direction of Arcadia High. Running around the cloud of black smoke cost me a precious minute. I made my way around the same corner they'd rounded, and stopped short as I came face to face with another black cloud. Couldn't match their speed, not with these noxious clouds slowing me down. With the heroine lying unconscious in the street several blocks in the wrong direction, I had no allies to turn to. Worse, anyone I came across was as likely as not to be a threat. It was down to Atlas and me, and Atlas was especially vulnerable to both of my opponents. I couldn't even fly after them without risking being cut down in midair. I had minimal information on my opponents, while they knew enough about me to completely counter my powers. Topping it all off, the mechanical spiders were steadily, inexorably closing in on me. Inexorably closing in on me. I'd lost my last fight with the things, and there were dozens more this time around. Couldn't fly without exposing myself to Jack's power. Couldn't stay on the ground without getting swarmed. I swallowed hard, and held out one hand to grab Atlas's horn as he landed. In a moment, we were in the air, giving chase. I wasn't thinking about winning anymore. I was thinking in terms of minimizing the damage when we lost.
Ooh.
End of chapter.
Ooh. Well, okay then.
Yeah. Well, did you enjoy the
fake Gru stuff?
The fake Gru stuff?
I thought it was weird.
It was pretty weird. And it was designed to be weird too, right?
Like, wait, what? Gru's not, like, he doesn't know how to say stuff like this.
Yeah, right?
He's not capable of saying stuff like this.
I mean, I'm glad... it's pretty obvious he was out of character, like, as soon as he started saying stuff like that, right? I mean, he was also out of character when he was just like, oh, I loved you. Like, I care about you.
What the And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna walk away. I'm like, what the fuck was all this?
Yeah, it's an entertaining chapter. It really is. And now they're heading to Arcadia High. Because, do you remember who's there?
Cherish?
No. It's Panacea.
Oh, that's right.
The only person who can stop this, this miasma.
Okay, right.
All right. Sorry. What's that a reference to?
Nothing. I just wanted to play a random K-pop song at the climax.
Oh.
And then it's like whoosh, like the golden like filter with the bubbles. They're running away. So it's like sponsored by SBS something.
There.
Just that bit. It's just gonna be that bit. And I was just trying to find the most intense K-pop song I could find for like.
I was thinking real hard about how to voice them. I was wondering if I should just use like a neutral robotic voice the entire way through, but that would have been kind of boring too.
I don't know if that would have helped.
Yeah.
That actually might have tipped me off sooner. Actually.
Yeah, maybe that would have been good then.
That probably would have tipped me off sooner. Actually, I was trying to read over your shoulder too.
Fair.
Because I was looking at it like, oh, this is Gru, and I'm like, dude. This whole time I was like, this is weird. Are you sure? Are you sure? And then you just kept making. You really are similar to Osaka. You kept making that face at me like you have no idea what I was talking about, but you actually did know.
What are you talking about? It's Gru and Tattletale.
Your face is looking particularly punchable right now, if I may say.
Why, thank you. Okay. Well,
all right, I think
that was a long chapter. I think we're done for tonight.
I will take it away. Sorry, I'm bad singing on purpose. There's a new Yunha album out. I need to listen to that tomorrow.
But thanks
it's called
for
End Theory.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This was a lot of fun. I was looking forward to reading this to you.
Can I come into the spoilers channel now?
No. We'll bring the spoilers channel to you, okay?
Let me in.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk to Panda so she doesn't feel lonely. Thanks, everyone.
It's not about the loneliness. I'm just like.
And have a good night.
It just feels like you guys are having a party and I can't come in because I haven't finished the homework, so I can't party with y'all.
This is the party. We're celebrating you. Surprise!
You're making that same face that you made when you kind of tricked me earlier, so...
Okay.
Roar!
Roar. All right. For real. Good night, everyone.